Hello everyone and welcome back to Short Circuits. So, I lied in my previous video. Not really. At the time, the Shuttle XPC was in fact done. It worked, it booted, games played, it was pretty good. However, like with all things from the past, eventually someone came up with something better. And I happened to do some thinking and do some math and get lucky. And with all those things put together, we're going to do an upgrade already. I haven't even had a chance to really play this thing except for the last video and maybe like 1 or 2 games of Lego chess, and I've already gotten to the point where I'm going to make it better. Now we're going to take a look, get that out of the shot because it's no longer important. We're going to take a look at a couple of things. So the first thing I'm going to do is we're going to install a SSD. Can you see that? There it is. We're going to install an SSD. This is one I've actually had lying around. It's 120 gigabyte Kingston SSD, and by lying around I mean literally I have no place to put it. I have 2 SSDs in my main computer, one of which I basically just use to install games on because I have no other use for it. This one I got literally to get free shipping. I know that sounds really weird, like why would you buy 120 gigabyte SSD for free shipping, but the reason why is because the shipping was like $10-15 and this was on sale for like 20 or 30. And I'm like, I just pay $15 more and I get this and free shipping. So I've had this like rattling about my parts department for a little while, and I'm like, I'm going to use this for something, and so I'm going to use this for this. Now, previously you guys saw that this does have SSD power, but as far as I know, the motherboard does not have SATA connectivity. However, it does have IDE connectivity. And even if it did have SATA connectivity, Windows 98, even Windows 98 SE, SATA is iffy, to say the least. So I acquired one of these recently, and this is a StarTech 40-pin IDE to SATA converter. It just has a point, it's on the back, but it has a point for power. It has the SATA where you would plug in the drive itself for the power and the connector, and then it has a 40-pin IDE connector on the back. And so that'll go on there, and it's not much taller. Then this is not actual size, by the way. It's not much taller than an original IDE drive, so that'll go in there, and that will allow for the conversion. Now, people will say things like, "Well, you're not going to get the rate of a SATA on an IDE." I don't want the rate of a SATA. What I have in here is a 20-year-old or older 80 gigabyte IDE drive that makes funny noises and has a spin-up time. Spin-up time you can actually feel while playing a game because of the pauses. And because of its age, I don't know how long this is going to last before it stops. And so if I have a 120 gigabyte SSD that will last me for quite some time on a Windows 98 computer, I will use that over the top of a slightly slower IDE drive. So even if the read times are exactly the same, even if this gives me absolutely no boost of actual read speed, in here it will give me spin up speed. And that's good enough to me because no one ever complained when you had a 4-speed CD-ROM and you got a 50-speed CD-ROM and someone came along and said, but you're not going to get any faster transfer rates. It's like, yeah, but I don't have to wait 4 hours for the data to go through. But you know what I mean. Bad analogy, but you know what I mean. And then, of course, this won't fit in here because it's not rated for this size drive, so I got myself some cheap, and you can't read that, I got myself some cheap SATA drive or 2.5-inch SSD to 3.5-inch bay brackets, I think is the word I'm looking for. This actually came in a pair of 2, and I might use the second one for a second project, so I figured what the hell. They're also a nice shiny blue color, which will absolutely not go with this case at all, but that's okay. Now, for the pièce de résistance, you're like, okay, hard drive upgrade, who cares? The pièce de résistance, we have one of these. Now that should be AGP. Again, I'm looking at the slot here. Should be an AGP card. And this is an ATI Radeon 9800 Pro. 128 megabyte video card, and it does have a power supply requirement on it. AGP version. And I found this sitting on a shelf at Value Village, which is one of my local thrift shops, at Value Village, for $5. And I picked it up without knowing what it was, how much memory is in it. I took a wild guess, because there's nothing on the board, you just kind of have to fiddle it out with like the revision number and the PN number in the corner. But that should be what this is. 9800 Pro, 128 gigabytes, or megabytes, excuse me, 128 megabytes of video memory. which is double what's currently in here, which is 64 with the Radeon 7000. Now, I did mention in my last video that the reason I wanted the Radeon card is because there's one game that will only work on the Radeon card, and I said this particular card and I pointed at the card. That's not exactly true. It will only work on Radeon cards, as far as I'm aware, and the reason why is because the drivers on the CD that I have for it are all coded for Radeon. There's like no NVIDIA drivers, and although it will show up on an NVIDIA card, there will be artifacting and problems that make the game completely unplayable. So, because it just doesn't render properly. So I need an ATI card, and believe it or not, of all the computers I picked up at Value Village, only like 2 of them had ATI cards in them. Every other one had some form of NVIDIA card, partially because that's the card that Dell goes with, for the most part, and partially because apparently that's the card everybody went with. Just as a heads up, a second card that was also sitting on the shelf and I got simply because it was an ATI card is this little guy right here, and as you can see, it's an ATI X1300, 128 megabytes, but this is PCIe, not AGP, and because of that, it won't work in this system. It probably would if I wanted 2 video cards, but I need that Voodoo 2, so, and that's just PCI. I don't even think it's PCIe, but this is at least PCIe. So this one won't fit, but it's another ATI card that I just really wanted to show off. So there, I showed it off. So yeah, that's going to be our upgrade today. It's going to be a new video card, bracket, hard drive, and mount. So we're going to get into doing that. Okay, so at this point I've already taken the screws off the back, so we should just be able to lift the lid. And noisy. And I have taken the liberty of lowering my camera, so now you can actually see what I'm doing here. So as we can see, we do have the ATI Radeon 7000 here, and then the Voodoo card in the back. Now I'm not going to remove the Voodoo card. I don't have to. Oh, I did forget one thing. I wanted to do while we had it open, and that's that. I need to put a new 2032 in there. I don't think it needs one, but if I have it open, I might as well utilize what I have. So we do have to have a 2032 in there. So we're going to add that, or swap that out. So to get started, we're going to go ahead and get started with my top frame here. Okay, and the 2032, since I know you can't technically see it behind all the cobwebs that are data cables, is right there. You can see it there. It's right next to the Voodoo card, but I think I'm going to do this a little off camera-ish. I think if I put my screwdriver in here, this should spread this open. No? Yeah, okay, it does. I don't have any fingernails, so this has to be done screwdriver-wise. Can I do that? Are you going to let me? Oh, it's such a terribly tight fit in here. Oh, I can just pry it out. Okay, I don't have to push. Got it. So there's that. I don't think this 2032 is bad. I honestly don't. It's probably perfectly fine. The only downside is I'm still having that memory timing issue, and so I'm going to blame the battery rather than actually finding out whether or not my RAM's bad. So that's always a good first step. Screwdriver as a multi-tool. Just so you guys know, a screwdriver can do anything. This is my magic screwdriver. It can literally do anything. I use it to open boxes, suture wounds. From time to time it pops out 2032s, and every once in a while, rare though it may be, and you've seen it here once or twice, it will unscrew screws. Alright, open up, come on. There you go. Oh, well, I took the plastic off with it, so at least that's a thing. Alright, so that's garbage. And now to put this little guy back. So you're like, here, stick your tongue out. That. There you go. Oh, you can actually kind of see that. So I'm just going to take this little Energize. It's not going to work without me being in the way or turning this whole thing. Okay, I want you to go in to the hole like that. Hey, there it is. All right. So brand new 2032 has been installed. Hooray for upgrades! Now I did mention that I might want to replace this RAM chip, but I forgot to collect my RAM chips, and I want to try the 2032 replacement first. So that's going to be our start. Now, might as well get the video card swapped out, since that's the easier thing to do. Say I, say I. It's not really super easy, but it's a lot less. I mean, it's here. Is my main point. It's in my face. Why are you not coming? Oh, thank you. If I remember correctly, I had some difficulty with these screws going in the first time because the cards tend to flop a little bit to the side. Okay, and then pop you out. All right, there we go. So there's that card. Now, just to make sure I got the right card in here, I'm gonna compare these two AGP styles. So yes, these are both. I'm having trouble with this because I have trouble visualizing the different card types, but these are both AGP cards. Because there's of course PCI, PCIe, AGP, and you can tell the more modern ones if you're looking by this little tab here. This is the locking tab that they started adding to super high speed, because apparently if it's super high speed, it has a super high chance of flying out your super hot computer, I guess. Now, this is a slightly longer card than its predecessor, but it fits perfectly. Now, this one does have a fan on it, which does increase the sound profile of my tiny Shuttle PC here, but that's okay, because I'm not a stickler for such things. I actually am, but only if it sounds like a jet engine or if yelling doesn't actually cover the sound profile. For the most part, though, like, as long as I can hear things grinding, and by that I mean like IDE drives or fans going out, I think it's just the screw, because I just switched screws. I know I did. So this screw is being a pain in the butt. There you go. Alright, cool. That's done. Hey, look at that. Brand new video card. Now these should use the, I looked it up, because I wanted to make sure there were Windows 98 drivers for this. This should use the Catalyst 4.3 drivers, I think are the latest drivers people suggest that you use for that. Alright, so that's one part. Now we're just going to push that aside and start working on the second part. And if you remember correctly, that one at the very bottom is my IDE drive. Now, I shouldn't, quote unquote, shouldn't have to take everything else out to get this out. Now here's a fun fact about this though. I'm not going to bother cloning this drive or in any way copying it. And the reason why is because to install Windows on here, what I had to do is I had to install DOS 6.2, I think, or 5 point something. Anyway, DOS something off of floppy drives, which gave me a 2 GB maximum hard drive partition, which took, whoops. Sorry about the loud, and I scared the cat. Gives you a 2 GB partition off of whatever's on your drive. So I had 2 GB and then 78-ish gigabytes. And it worked out fine because I installed Windows 98 on that 2 GB over the top of DOS, and then I had an original copy of DOS in there if I needed it for any reason. And I kind of liked that. It made me feel comfortable in an oddly classic, nostalgic way. And so because of that, I'm going to do the same thing for my SATA drive. I'm going to install DOS originally, and then I'm going to install Windows 98 over the top of that. I'm just going to start all over again. The one thing that I know is a pain in the butt with this, though, is because it is a self-contained PC, it does have chipset drivers to get all the things running, like, say, the Ethernet ports. And the USB. So you have to figure out a way to get data onto the computer in order to get more data onto the computer. And what I mean by that is you have to figure out a way to get the chipset drivers on there via CD or DVD. Now I do have some CDs I can burn, so that's going to be basically what I'm going to do is I'm going to burn everything as a backup, basically, because I have collected a bunch of different files for it. I'm going to do a backup CD just for this, and then that's going to be my install CD, and hopefully that's going to solve most, if not all, of my getting data onto the computer problems. Previously I didn't have any CDs, I only had, okay, so they're not together. I only had DVDs, and that's when I learned that this was not a DVD drive. So yeah, these are nice actually. They're like, it's kind of a rough coat, kind of a scratch, but I don't care. It's gonna be inside of a computer, I don't care. It's a nice rough coat of nice blue paint. I liked it. Part of me just bought it because of the blue. I'm just like, pretty blue. No, I'll never see it. It'll be inside of a computer jammed up underneath a bunch of crap, but pretty. And it did also come with some mounting screws. So apparently 2 pairs of mounting screws, 1 for each one, which is sweet. I'm going to toss the other pair of mounting screws back in with that one so I don't lose them. Let's go over there. Alright. Now you guys have seen this 1,000 times. Let's go with 1,001, shall we? I'm hoping this is a good angle. I keep looking over at my screen, and everything I'm doing looks like it's... I mean, it may not be centered in cam, but it's 98% in cam. Okay, so... Ooh. I may have discovered an issue. Let's find out. I need StarTech. Okay. Oop. I haven't even opened this yet. Maybe this is bigger than I thought it was. Okay, so I have... Oh no, it's really tiny. Maybe... Wait, is that actually to scale? Hold on. I said it wasn't to scale. Oh, no. I mean, it's close. It's close, but not to scale. It's about 3/4 scale. Okay. So this is already pre-plugged in. It uses the 5-pin... Well, they're all 4-pin, but it uses the 4-pin... what I would consider a floppy drive connector. They're called power connector A and B, I guess. I don't know. But this should also work, I hope, for my video card if I, I don't think there's a problem with drawing power directly from one source. So I'm actually going to pull this, I'm actually going to pull this off, I hope. Don't pull any wires out. This is my only extension cable. Okay, I'm going to pull that off so it's out of my way. What I need to do is I need to take this and insert it here. Alright, now that's... Oh, yes. I love StarTech. StarTech makes some of the best equipment that you don't know you need it until you realize you need it. And this is one of those types of things. And they actually take into account silly little things like, I may not be mounting this where I think I'm going to mount this, because you're actually asking for a SATA to 40 pin, right? And because of that, they say, well, you're probably going to need a mounting bracket. And so when you take that, they take that into account when they design their stuff. This is a perfect fit. I thought there was going to be overhang or something keeping it from... No, the screw holes, let's see, screw holes line up. Screw holes line up perfectly, and even if there was overhang, it's close enough to the edge, if you can see that, it is close enough to the edge to where it doesn't matter. So yeah, let's go ahead and just keep rolling with this. So we're gonna slap these two little guys together here. Okay, so there is a SATA IDE drive installed. Well, installed in this part. Now I got to get it installed in this part, and that's gonna be where the fun begins. All right, so let's take a look at our power supply here. We have this. Okay, this is actually the same cable basically as this. It's just an extender, which is okay. I'm okay with that. That's okay. So this went to the A drive. This went most likely to the hard drive below. Oh, we can actually do this. No, it's gonna be out of focus. I know, but nope. That goes to the A drive and the CD-ROM. So this one here most likely went to the hard drive, but doesn't need to go there anymore because reasons. Okay. Knocking over screws. So if I remember correctly, this is my, oh yeah, if I remember correctly, it's written right here. That's my hard drive. So that one goes in first. This is my floppy drive, and this is my optical drive, which is my 40-pin IDE connector, right? Yeah. We're fine. Okay. So we're gonna try to put this in kind of sideways a little bit. Now this comes to, now the cards are already in here, so putting all these cables in might be a bit of a pain in the tookie parts. But I'm gonna start with this guy, and he goes right down here, connects. You guys definitely cannot see this because I can barely see past my own hand. All right. So that's connected. That is actually now part of the computer like it's supposed to be. This is my hard drive, so I'm going to push it a little bit closer, and this connects here. 40-pin ID, yes. Ooh. Is this too many pins? Wait. Is this too many pins? No. This is the right number of pins, right? I'm not actually going to sit here and count them, but it looks correct. So that suggests that I'm just not aiming properly. All right, because the hole will match, because there's a pin here. Again, you can't see that flat spot that isn't shiny. That's a dead pin. There's no pin there. It won't go on unless that pin's where it's supposed to be, because none of the other pins will go on either. I'm probably just not aiming properly. I'm probably just, because this is a really difficult thing to do. Both hands. Okay. That. No, all right. Ow. Actually, I'm trying to put. Did I have put this on second? I wonder if it's easier to get it onto the SATA drive than it is to get it. Ow! The 40-pin on. Ow. The solder joints on the backside are poking me in the finger. Okay, so let's. Okay, I'm gonna do that, and I'm gonna do. Oh no. Okay, I'll try. We're gonna start over again. I'm gonna pull this off. I'm gonna pull this whole thing out, and I'm gonna pull. Will this come off? It will. Okay, but slowly and over time. Come on, look at. There we go. Okay. Whew. Ooh. All right. So if we're gonna do it this way first. We're gonna we're gonna plug this guy in here. Yeah, that's 40-pin. That's exactly right. And these are gonna hurt, but. It's gonna go in. Yeah, this is gonna be so much easier. And I still got dents in my fingers. You can't really see because of the lighting, but I got dents in my fingers. There's a snake in my boot. Alright, from there, and there's no way you're gonna see half of this. I know that for a fact because I can barely see what I'm doing. Okay, so this is so fiddly. Aha! Aha, okay, so that's connected. Now, with that connected, go there. I'm going to move that. I'm going to move this. I'm going to, okay, this go over the top. So this now can go, this can now go inside and plug back into the motherboard where it belongs. Boop. Okay, proper boop. Okay, it's properly been booped. The power cables I think are going to be last, just because reasons. Now, I have this in my optical drive, that's you, and this is my flirpy drive, and that's, okay, I like the fact that the flirpy drive, which is now behind, every time I plug in that USB cable, I have to unplug that. I'm not doing it again. That nope, I'm doing it again. Okay, USB cable is coming unplugged, because now the flirpy drive has to be plugged in under the USB cable. Channeling my inner Swedish chef. Cooking with electronics. Okay. Alright, now the flirpy drive is connected, and then can I do it now? is now the time? Okay. I think no, okay, now oh, it'll go under. Alright, it's gonna go under the flirpy cable, because in the end that'll be over the flirpy cable. But now it doesn't have enough length because the floppy cable's in the way. Okay. And put, no. You know you do that thing where you don't hold on to the tip, you hold on to the cable part, and you try to make the cable not move in your hand where you don't want it to go, but it's all flopping around. You put pressure on it and it doesn't go where you want it to go. Yeah, that's That's my life right now. Alright, so USB cable is plugged in for the 3rd time. Alright. And then we have power cords. We have the optical drive. I'll name him Steve. The Steve optical drive. Alright, this goes... This goes here. Motherfucker. Okay, cool. Promise I'm not angry, just flustered. You get flustered with these things sometimes. Okay, that one's plugged in, and then that one's plugged in. Holy Jesus, we did it. Alright. Now this one has... I have to stop moving for a second. Now I have to figure out what to do with a drunken sailor. I think... Grab the whole thing and twist. Okay. Ooh, alright. So that mess of cables is still there. So I need power for this, which is fine because I have power for everything else. So I just need power for that, and for that to happen. Well, not really, because this isn't plugged into anything yet either. So that, and then this, and then this, if it will go in all proper like. Okay, you're gonna drop down where you belong, or you're gonna be kind of a jerk about it. Okay, that's out of the way. This is in the... No, it's not. What's in the way? Voodoo card's not in the way, is it? Oh, okay, it kinda is. Okay. Oh. How did I do this before? We're gonna try from this side, I think. Nothing is in the way. The voodoo card, the little rubber tab over here that holds the video card. Great design, by the way. Not joking in the least. Absolutely fantastic design. But the rubber pad that holds the voodoo card out of the way is bumping up against one of the RAM chips on the voodoo card. So because of that, I can't get this to go in without bending my voodoo card a little bit to get it past the RAM chip. There. Okay. So, probably saw some of that. This... How are you too low? Okay, there you go. There. There. Alright. That's back in place. Cool. Now for my power cable. So this is now power. This is now my SATA power. Along with my SATA power, it should also be my video card power. So that's going to go here. I think I need this plugged into this is what I need. So again, it's not a bad angle. I keep telling myself it's a bad angle, but it's really not a bad angle. It's just it's encompassing everything, and I'm not recentering the camera every time our focus adjusts. So there, that's plugged in there. So power is on. All right, now the issue comes from the fact. Okay. Okay. Oh, you know, that's not terrible. It's not great. It's not terrible. And then so this little guy. Actually, if I just do it like this, we can figure out where it goes here in a minute once we get it all hooked together. So you and you become very close friends. So bring it back. I'll bring this one back to the camera so you can kind of see it. You see that? That one is out of shot, unfortunately. That's not gonna work. The early edition of the USB cable only goes in one way, but you have to flip it 3 times to figure out which way that is. Okay, once that's there, you can push this like so. Like I want these cables on the other side of the car. They don't need to be. There's a little bit of room. Oh my god. Well, the fins are fine, but that's gonna be like super close. Super close. That's okay. That's okay. Yeah, there'll be room. It'll have room to breathe. Not very much room and not very big breaths, but it'll have room to breathe. Alright, so we have success. I want this to go down and like stay down, but it wants to stand up. So we have successfully installed all our parts and pieces. Now this is a 240, I believe. I bumped my camera, sorry. I bumped my camera again. 250 watt. Okay, this is a 250 watt power supply, which should be enough to run a Voodoo 9800. Not a Voodoo 90. Wow. Run a ATI Radeon 9800 on top of everything else that's in here, right? Because SSDs don't take that much power. Alright, with that out of the way, we should be able to put this back together. That get pushed? It did. There we go. That's better. Didn't fix anything, but... Oh, right. I'm forgetting important things, like putting my screws back in so that thing doesn't slide around like it just did. Stop that. Alright, you go in there. Yeah, it's not even really screwed in. It's just like you just drop it in the hole and it keeps it from sliding around. It's not even really. It's not even really screwed in. This one's that's one's not even screwed in. Those are stripped all the hell. All right, there's no way for me to make there. Oh, cool. Just stick it underneath the little sticker tape there. Works fine. All right, and now. Oh, and there are air vents on the sides, and that'll go right over the top, I believe. Loud. Okay, that should go. I was gonna say what are you stuck on, but I think it's because I just didn't get you in the notches on the side properly. Okay, you good? Good. And aha! Oh. Why don't you want to go forward? Get in there. There. All right. So that's nice and stable. There's the notches or the drill holes. Okay, so yeah, there's a tiny bit of room for the fan to blow. You can't really see it, but the black section there-ish is the fan, and then the silver section around it is the are the fins. So there is room to breathe. Now I've moved my screws. This back together. All right. So with all the upgrades physically completed, hardware upgrades completed, it's now time to start over by installing Windows, or installing DOS and Windows and all the drivers and everything. And I'm just absolutely going to do that off camera because there's no reason not to. This might cause me an issue here. Not really. I just from here to here, and this is still my out. So it's not here to here anymore. It's here to here. Hey, look, 2S video out. See, upgrades. All right, so I'm going to install some stuff, and then we're going to take another look at what this little guy can do. And I think I know a perfect candidate because Medal of Honor? No, Call of Duty 1. I remember on the previous video, Call of Duty 1 was choppy. It was very choppy. I'm wondering if it will be less choppy. That's a great comparison. So Call of Duty 1 will be a great comparison on choppiness level of the graphics, because it's probably running like 25 frames per second, but it wasn't running a full 30, and you could feel it. You could hit targets, but barely. So that'll be a good test of that. So yeah, let me go ahead and get that up and running, and then we'll take a quick swing at checking out Windows again, and we'll just load up Call of Duty and be done with it.
Move up! Secure the perimeter! Come on!
I dropped my screw. That's absolutely irritating. Found it.